Hello everyone. Previous class we had discussed about the introduction of powder metallurgy as well as the present and future trends in powder metallurgy. Today's class we will be discussing about the next part, that is powder production techniques. Um, Here these processes are not much used as a primary methods for production of metal powders. Mechanical combustion is possible by methods such as impact as well as attenuation, shear and compression. The formation of metal powders by mechanical methods relies on various combinations of these four basic mechanisms. Such methods have been used as the primary process for following cases. First one, that is materials which are relatively easy to fracture, for example pure antimony and bismuth, which are relatively hard and brittle metals, as well as ceramics. Second one, relative materials such as beryllium and metal hydrides. Third one, common metals such as aluminum and iron, which are required sometimes in the form of flake or powders. A common method is the use of a ball mill consisting of the rotating drum with hard wear resistant balls. The critical factor is the speed of the drum's rotation. Very high speed will cause the material and the ball to be pressed against the wall of the drum because of the centrifugal forces, and prevent relative motion between the drum and prevent relative motion between the materials as well as the balls. Too low speeds will result in the insufficient amount of movement of the lower part of the drum. The optimum speed corresponds to a situation in which the small amount of ball and material is lifted up to the top of the drum and falls down on the remaining material. Another type of mill is a vortex mill, in which particles of materials to be ground are fractured by mutual contact or collision. Such mills consist of two or more very rapidly rotating propellers within the mill, casting the gas flow systems which remove the desired size fraction of particles. The disadvantage of mechanical method of powder production is potential contamination from the ball and mill balls. Flake metal powders are produced by flattering equimixed particles produced by another method. These may be these may employ ball, hammer, or roll mills. When milling the original particles, lubricants are added to prevent them from welding or sticking to each other. Aluminum, copper, bronze, silver, gold, iron, and stainless steel flake powders are produced commercially in this kind of milling methods. So next we will study one by one the processes. First one, before that, various methods of size reduction can be classified as crushing, ball milling, in that again disc grinding, attenuator milling. So these are all chemical methods. Next, sorry, these all are mechanical methods. Next one is chemical methods. In that, chemical reduction from a solid state or from the gaseous state or from the aqueous solution. Next is atomization of powder. This is another method of production of powder from the molten metal itself. So these processes we will be studying one by one. So first one, that is crushing method. As you see in the diagram, we have two equipments which are jaw crusher as well as heavy drop hammer crushing. The major equipments are motor and pestle, heavy drop hammer, and jaw crushers. The jaw crushing In jaw crushing, the crushing chamber is formed by one fixed jaw and one movable jaw between stationary side support, which you can see in this diagram. The movable jaw is mounted eccentrically at the top and is driven by uh, a motor or a flywheel arrangement. During the crushing process, the material is drawn down into the tapered crushing chamber as a result of the eccentric jaw motion and is reduced in the size by compression and frictional forces. In addition, the angle between the jaws can be altered to give optimum adjustment of the crushing of a material. The final crushed product particle size can be adjusted to various um, sizes between 15 to 15 micrometer to 1 mm by adjusting the gap at the base of the jaws. The standard jaws and side walls are manufactured from the hardened steel so that less wear and tear of the parts should be there. If the feed material is very abrasive of a particular impurities are also avoided. These components are available in stainless steel or hard tungsten carbide. Next one is crushing by heavy drop hammer. This is relatively simple in construction. A rigid support is used, which is referred as base here. That base is connected to columns, supporting structures. Um, these columns house the release block connected to a horizontal column itself, and due to mechanical means the hammer is lifted above at the top end of till the top end of the column. After that, the hammer is released due to gravitational force and because of its own weight, the hammer comes and hits the raw material, which can be powdered at a particular instant. So like this, continuous hammering of the raw material takes place on the raw material takes place, so that we can produce a particular fine sized powder. Next process is ball milling. The ball mills can be divided into two types. First one is a centrifugal, second one is a planetary mills. In a centrifugal ball mill, a single ball fastener is merely a horizontal and eccentrically uh, driven while not rotating itself. In spite of this, the velocity of the grinding balls in the case is still six times that the grinding balls in the gravity ball mill. The planetary ball is uh, the planetary ball mill is two or four ball fasteners, which is each of which accommodates one grinding ball and attached to a supporting disc. During grinding, the grinding bowls are supporting discs rotating in opposite directions, um, so that two different centrifugal forces act on the bowl contents. The grinding material is reduced in the size as a result of both atteration and impaction. The grinding balls have a velocity which is 12 times that of the grinding balls. In a grinding ball mill, each grinding medium influences the grinding process via a specific weight of the balls. So the ball milling can be seen in this slide. So rotation of the drum will be there, which will be very slow, and we have a particular sized balls, spheres we can consider of very hard materials in most of the cases, so that there should not be any wear of the balls. Any wear of the balls results in contamination of the uh, particles to be grounded. So small spheres can be considered as the particles which are to be grounded by the spheres itself, by the rotating balls itself. So slow rotation of the drum causes the balls to fall due to gravity, one over the other. So in between those two balls, if a particle is present, that will be crushed due to impact and will be produced in the fine powder. So the continuous process will continuous use of ball mill will continually produce a very fine powder. So duration of time for production of fine powder is very important. If smaller rotations are used, smaller time durations are used, we will be having coarse powder. If longer rotations are used, we will be having a fine uh, powder of the required material. We will see a small animated video regarding how a ball mill works.
Ball milling method. In this video, we are going to see about ball milling method. One machine that is heavily used for crushing and grinding task is the ball mill. This machine is described as a grinding device capable to crush and transform large hard materials into fine powder. A ball mill is a cylindrical machine generally used for mashing and crushing paints, ceramic materials, ores, and other hard materials. Feed material, dust collection, finished product, grinding ball. By rotating on a horizontal axis, the ball mill effectively turns hard materials into fine powder. The grinding materials are actually small balls which crush and grind the material that is inside the ball mill. Usually, stainless steel or ceramic balls are used as grinding materials. When the ball mill rotates, the balls crush and grind the material inside, creating in this way loose powder. The end result is crushed material that can be used for other purposes.
After ball milling, next process is a disc grinder. You can see the construction of disc grinder here. The disc grinders are suited for processing hard brittle materials. A wet grinder is a closed grinder vessel which is driven horizontally and eccentrically and which contains grinding elements such as disc or ring. So you can consider them as disc as well as rings, which are used to reduce the material to give a final particle size of a few micrometers. Impact and friction between the grinding elements and the grinding vessel cause such grinding energy that the process is generally concluded within a few minutes. So this process compared to ball milling is faster, but it can produce uneven particles compared to ball milling itself. And ball milling can generate finer particles than the disc grinding arrangement, because as long as the particles are between the two discs, the reduction will be taking place. When they move away from the disk, there will be no reduction of the particle. So the time duration in which the particle is in between two disks matters a lot here to reduce the particles to a finer section. And there will be certain amount of gap because of between there will be certain amount of gap between two disks because of uncertainties in a micron level. So that also is one of the factor which will not help reduce the particles to a minimum level. Next is iterator milling. In iterator milling, or mechanical alloying is achieved by high energy ball milling under conditions such that powders are not only fragmented but also rewelded in certain cases. In this case, the ball charge is stirred vigorously with rotating pedals. The pedals can be seen here, which are connected to a central shaft, and these pedals will move the spheres in a particular direction, whether it is clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. Um, Commonly used grinding media types are stainless steel, chromium steel, tungsten, carbide, ceramic, or zirconium oxide. The materials and the media are then agitated by the shaft which cross arms the rotating at high speed. This causes the media to exert both shearing and impact forces on the material, resulting in the optimum size reduction and dispersion. The material can be directly fed into the jacketed grinding tank of the milling, and the final result of the grinding action is the fine even particle dispersion. The charge is a blend. The produced charge is a blend of elemental and pre-alloyed powders, at least one of which is a ductile material. So alloying of a components can also be done in this iterator milling process, where a pre-mixed amount of the materials in a required proportion are added into this mechanism, so that even alloyed uh, uh, powders can also be got into this same process can be also carried out. Same alloying process can also be carried out in ball milling also. After mechanical grinding processes, next we will study chemical methods which will be used to produce a powder. Chemical reduction involves chemical compound, most frequently an oxide, but sometimes a halide or other salt of the metal. This may be carried out in the first form, that is, from the solid state, as in the reduction of iron oxide with carbon or tungsten oxide with hydrogen sponge iron powder produced by the Huygens process is a typical example of the production method. This is the batch process in which the ground ore does not move mm, during reduction, but is static in contrast to other direct reduction processes which are continuous. The Huygens process is based in the use of quite pure magnetic ores, and that is, I can take an example of Fe3O4 iron. The iron ore is reduced with the carbonescence material. The figure shows here how the production process is carried out, so that we can extract a powder of metal from the raw material itself. Um, uh, um, the ore is grounded to a particular size distribution determined by each of the desired iron powder. The ore powder is placed in the central cylinder ceramic containers, usually referred as sagers, made of silicon carbide, surrounded on the outside by a concentric layer of a mixture of coke and limestone. Thus, the limestone. The sagers are placed in a layer upon cars which are pushed through a fuel-fired tunnel kiln. The carbon monoxide produced from the coke reduces the ore to iron. Total reduction time is of around 24 hours at the reduction temperature of around 1200 degrees centigrade. The limestone serves to bind any sulfur in the coke and prevents its contamination. The contaminating prevents contaminating the iron. The sponge iron is mechanically removed from the sagers, ground, and the resulting powder magnetically separated from impurities. In a final reduction step, the powder is carried through a continuous furnace in hydrogen atmosphere on the belt made of steel. So after that, the, the powder is screened for this different shape and sizes. The overrun sizes are separated and again can be reduced. So remaining particles which are of required size can be packed. So the next process is chemical reduction from the gaseous state As in this reduction process, titanium tetrachloride vapor, which is in molten with the molten magnesium, a well-known process, that is Kroll process, is used. The Kroll process as a major technique has been developed for several decades and is operated in industrial large scale. The process includes several steps, that is carbochlorination of the to produce TiCl4, TiCl4 purification, the reduction of a purified TiCl4 by magnesium, as well as electrolysis process of MgCl2 generated by the reduction to produce metallic Mg and chlorine. This diagram shows how Kroll process is used to produce a particular powder by chemical reduction technique. So uh, during carbochlorination, carbon, that is oil plus coke, and chlorine are used to react with TiO2 producing TiCl4 along with other volatile chlorides and CO or CO2 between 1703 degrees and 1175 degrees Kelvin. In the following treatment, impurities of silicon, iron, aluminum, and magnesium, calcium, etc., are removed by fractional distillation to generate TiCl4 at an around 99.9% of purity. Then the purified TiCl4 is reduced by molten magnesium between between the said temperature in argon atmosphere at an around 1173 degrees centigrade to produce a sponge titanium. By the subsequent cooling and vacuum distillation to remove the magnesium and um, magnesium magnesium chloride in a purer sponge titanium, that is around 99.5 to 99.7% can be produced. MgCl2 obtained from the reduction of TiCl4 is sent to electrolysis sector to produce chlorine and magnesium. The Cl2 and Mg produced are respectively used for chlorination of TiO2 and reduction of TiCl4 respectively. So by this way we can produce Ti sponge, and that sponge is purer in the material form and can be produced in the form of powder very easily, as the sponge can break without much effort. So the last process in chemical methods is from aqueous solution. As in the precipitation of cement copper from copper sulfate solution with iron in the reduction of the ammonical nickel salt solution with hydrogen under pressure, low cost copper powder is produced from solution obtained by leaching copper ores or copper scrap, where the precipitation of copper powders from the acidified solution of copper sulfate with iron is achieved by large quantities of this cement copper are produced from copper sulfate solutions, which are the byproduct of copper refinery industries. By this, we will end our today's class. In the next class, we will discuss further processes for production of a powder. Thank you.